You've heard of it, haven't you? The legend of Sparta? When I was young, my father would tell me stories about it. Long ago, in ancient times, a demon rebelled against his own kind for the sake of the human race. With his sword, he shut the portal to the demonic realm and sealed the evil entities off from our human world. But since he was a demon himself, his power was also trapped on the other side. I never believed it. I thought it was just a child's fairy tale. But I discovered that this so-called legend wasn't a myth at all. Sparta existed. How do I know? Well, I met the sons of Sparta. Both of them. Though the same blood of their father flowed through their veins, the two battled each other fiercely like arch-enemies. It seemed as if they derived some sort of twisted pleasure from this brotherly fighting.
Are there no subtitles in the original version? Or in the special edition? Like, there's a reason we're doing the PS2 version of this. And not the HD collection. It's because, as with quite a few HD ports of PS2 games, there's a bunch of details to get wrong.
Was left standing. Want to know the name? Devil May Cry.
Alright, let's take a look at this. Subtitles, yeah. Fun fact, the turbo setting that you see here does not exist on the European version. But I felt we could all... Like, as much as I love Lucifer's Call Nocturne, its game design hasn't aged well. Specifically in the way it keeps you interested in the game. It gets kind of dull, which is unfortunate. Whereas some of the future games, have a stronger focus on story. Nocturne doesn't, and the story takes a massive backseat. And once you're out of the hospital, you're pretty much left to your own devices, and the story will just kind of disappear for a lot of the game. But like I mentioned before, though, Ninja, check out the Kazuma Kaneko /Atlas bit on the bottom right. Dante May Cry. Normal. God, I always forget which is which. Alright, it's okay, Ninja, I just looked it up. Yellow is how it originally was. Gold is how it was in Devil May Cry 2. We're gonna go with gold.
Devil May Cry.
So what it really means is yellow is if we die,
The legend of
we
Sparta.
use a
When I was
yellow
young,
orb
my
to
father would tell me
respawn
stories
outside
about
the
it.
room we died in. Gold is we
Long ago,
respawn
in
exactly
ancient
where we were.
times, a demon rebelled against his own kind for the sake of the human race. With his sword, he shut the portal to the demonic realm and sealed the evil entities off from our human world. But since he was a demon himself, his power was also trapped on the other side. I never believed it. I thought it was just a child's fairy tale. But I discovered that this so-called legend wasn't a myth at all. Sparta existed.
And then you play Devils Never
How
Cry.
do I know?
Love it.
Well,
But
I
yeah,
read the
the
signs.
HD versions have various issues with their visual design in the porting process.
Though the same blood of their
The most
father
obvious
flowed
here
through their veins,
in this
the
scene
two
is
battled each other
the
fiercely
transparency of the
like
hair, especially in the close-up. The hair is completely opaque in the HD
It
versions,
seemed as if they derived some sort of
which
twisted
means, like, because of the way
pleasure from this
Dante's hair
blood
is, you miss, like, a good portion of his face. You can't see his eyes a lot of the time when you're supposed to be able to see them. The moon also looks different, there's no depth of field in a lot of the shots. The coloured lighting is different and less pronounced. It really changes the visual design of Devil May Cry 3, and I think it's disappointing, which is why we're playing the original PS2 version.
Only one was left standing.
I mean, I don't have to justify why I'm playing the PS2 version, it's my stream. I can play whichever version I want. Look, there's the one on the pizza box. It's always a fun game to play with Devil May Cry 3 because for some reason, every level, the opening cutscene in every level has the number of the mission that it's the cutscene for, and like the trick is to try and find them.
I haven't even picked a name for this joint, and I'm already.
I think Devil May Cry 3 looks fantastic. The biggest problem, more than anything, comparing playing this with the HD version, is the PS2's resolution. But the visual design is better in the original.
The bathroom. Help yourself. The toilet's in the back.
Is your name Dante, son of Sparta?
Where did you hear that?
I hope you like it, Clem. And I hope we have some fun.
He sent this invitation for you. Please.
Please, Mr. Dante was my father. You ever see the motion capture for these scenes? Like, Ruben Langdon uploaded a load of the motion capture sessions for Devil May Cry 3 and 4 cutscenes onto his YouTube a while ago, and, like, they're great. And they're so much fun to watch. It's a big part of the reason why I got Devil May Cry 5's Deluxe Edition, because it said you get live-action cutscenes with it. I was hoping it was going to be those motion capture sessions, but they're done with Japanese motion actors instead, rather than like Ruben Langdon and Johnny Young Bosch. And it's kind of disappointing. If it is on the PS2 disc, it's not accessible without hacking.
This party's getting crazy. Let's rock.
Load 7 Hell's Battle. There it is. I don't know about you guys, but if I've just come out of the shower and I'm still toweling my hair dry, I'm not going to be wearing shoes. Showering your shoes. You know, if you shower in your shoes, Clem, I do not envy the person that has to be around you when you take your shoes off.
Don't bet on it.
You could fight demons barefoot. Alright, so we have the guesses here. Which style am I going to use for the first mission? Like, one thing I do really want to pick the Switch version up for is the switching style system. Because, like, I never use Gunslinger. I don't think there is ever enough use, viability to Gunslinger to commit to it for a full mission. But if I could switch to Gunslinger at any time, I might use it for a few seconds and then switch back to Swordmaster or Trickster. I might actually learn Royal Guard if I can switch back to something else if it's not working for me. And so I do kind of want to pick up the Switch version. I'm not paying the price for it though. Well, the way I did it in Devil May Cry 4 and 5 is I never touch Royal Guard or Gunslinger. It's always Trickster or Swordmaster. And I think the best way to look at all of these styles is they are a way of maintaining style. Like, you use Trickster specifically to avoid attacks so that your style doesn't go down. Swordmaster is extra combos to increase your style capability. Same with Gunslinger, but and Royal Guard serves the same purpose as Trickster. You're blocking attacks so that you don't take damage to maximise your style. But we're going to go with Trickster. If you level Trickster up as well, it is broken. Is it weird that they've got the PS2 controller there just without the Sony logo? Oh, I was expecting to pull out Stinger then, it didn't happen. So here's something that only 2 Devil May Cry games did. The orbs in this game have different faces. The red orbs have a different face from the blue, from the yellow, from the green, from the white, from the purple. All of the orbs have different faces, and only one other Devil May Cry game does that. You dick. Well, there goes the whole idea of doing the first mission without taking damage. I always forget these guys turn up in the first mission. I expect it to be later. Start again. Alright, let's do this properly. Lock-on is not working with me right now. That is a cool looking move. It is actually so worthless in combat. Damn it. You know, not having Stinger is really screwing with me. Okay. And let's immediately buy Stinger. In case you were wondering, the only other Devil May Cry game that has different faces on each of the orbs is Devil May Cry 2. But as with many things Devil May Cry 2 did, it's actually pretty ugly. You think an A rank? I took one hit, so that's going to count against me for damage. The time was probably a little sloppy. Like, the orbs in this look pretty decent and distinctive. In Devil May Cry 2, they're just, like, they're all orbs with, like, faces printed on them.
I can already tell. Looks like this is gonna be one hell of a party!
Okay, so the time is probably a B. Oh, that's an A, that's okay. A. B. B. S. A, that's not bad. A. Alright, let's save it. What slot is open? Slot 3, alright. It was a good call, Ninja. Okay, so let's immediately buy Stinger. There we go. Oh, you're saying I did shitty, Ninja? Once again, see if you can find the 2 in this cutscene. You see, it's probably a good thing that I've never been a perfectionist.
You totally wrecked my shop, and I haven't even named it yet.
Like,
You're gonna pay for that.
oh, that looks bad. The sleeves clipping through the coat. No, I'm just messing with you, Ninja. I forgot what I was going to say. And now we get the first appearance of the actual battle theme. And there's the 2 on the billboard. Flames in your eye, calls your bluff. Feel free to die when you've had enough. Alright, let's go. The first mission without Stinger was just painful. See if you spot any of the other ones, Ninja. Because some of them are really difficult to spot. Like, Mission 4 is one of the hardest to spot. Whereas Mission 3 is one of the easiest. Boy, I look forward to getting level 2 Trickster. And the bomb. There it is. Like, Devil May Cry 3 we look at as like the best of the series, and it's not, it's got problems. Mostly with its enemy designs. Like, you notice how the green orb has a different face from the red? But like, Devil May Cry 3 was fantastic. Oh, it's definitely overstated. I think, in comparison, Devil May Cry 4 is understated. I mean, make no mistake, I love so much of what this game does. And for me, this is where Devil May Cry really got everything right for the first time. But, like, whether it's the best? Yeah. There's a specific timing to that, and I can never get it right. Opening a trillion. No, it's not trillion, it's million stab in this. Trillion stabs reboot. That was a good fight, actually. I'm okay with that. Well, a lot of Force problems do revolve around Dante's playability. Specifically in the fact that you just do the entire game in reverse, and that's boring. Hey Teak, how you doing, buddy? I do think the game would have probably worked a lot better than if it was with Nero entirely instead of Dante. But I also think it wouldn't have sold as well. I think a lot of people would have complained about that. I think the difference between MGS2 and MGS2 and Devil May Cry 4, though, is Raiden plays basically the same as Snake. But Nero plays very differently from Dante. Devil May Cry 4 is fantastic, and I think Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition is a very good contender for best game of the series. And it helps that, like, adding 3 more playable characters, a bunch of extra stuff,
No doubt you've got some fun.
especially since Devil May Cry 4 has the best enemy roster. Teak, are you streaming tonight? That's gotta be like a B rank. I feel like I took too much damage. Yeah. There's a B rank. The only time anybody's ever naked in Devil May Cry is in the reboot. Oh, actually, no, until Devil May Cry 5, where Trish and Lady end up naked at specific points. But they very quickly put clothes on. That's fair enough, Teak.
I come well.
I don't want to overlap your stream.
The Timon Negru has revived.
is my main thing. Like, for the past few times when we've been streaming, because it's been going long for a lot of the recent streams, and I've been overlapping when you've been streaming. I don't want to do that.
Magnificent view.
That also means I can't watch your streams if I'm streaming at that time.
Evil constructed this glorious edifice. Now,
I love this though.
after 2 millenniums of confinement, it can at last fulfill the purpose for which it was intended.
That's none of my concern.
I love how Virgil's like, I don't care.
Did he have it?
Of course.
Fun fact, Dan Southworth, the voice of Virgil, had a cold when he recorded his lines for this.
It is the only
Which is why Virgil in 4 Special Edition and
No idea of its true power.
what's that other appearance? That pachinko thing that Capcom's doing, I think it's a pachinko machine or a mobile game. The one that has Devil May Cry 3 scenes in like new models and shit. It's why the voice never sounds exactly the same as this. Because Dan Southworth had a cold when he was doing this. Yeah, no, that's the reboot. Definitely the reboot, Teak.
I found it.
God, I fucking love Lady. She's a great character. Oh, there's the 3. Yeah, Lady's great. I wish they gave Lady more to do in 4 and 5. 4, she's basically a glorified cameo. And in 5, she doesn't do anything. I do quite like her outfit in 4. Alright, click the left analog stick to switch lock-ons. Okay, there it is. I'm with you in a minute, guys, once I've done this combat scene. I'm irritated with that because that guy killed himself and thus the others. It means I don't get the style points. And that makes me unhappy. That guy came from off camera, that's not supposed to happen. Alright, what was the same? Well, I think that's really the thing, like, Lady is, like, the only side character, because, like, 4 characters get character development in this series. Dante, Virgil, Nero, and Lady. And that's it. And I think that's why Lady has so much appeal. You really need to get off the Queelag clip. Well, it's like I could read chat while I'm while I'm doing this. The problem is I'm probably going to get hit. And I need to save that for the later points where I can use it as an excuse. Also, you're spelling Goma wrong. Like, I don't want to be pedantic about it, but you're spelling Goma wrong. You don't think Lady is badass? There we go, Goma. Well, yeah, that's post Devil May Cry 3. I think the main thing we think about is Lady in conjunction with Devil May Cry 3. Also, Devil May Cry 1 Easter egg right here. I like that. Plays the battle theme for Devil May Cry 1 for a short period. So there is actually a way to do this faster. The shotgun is pretty much defined by its slow fire rate. But there is a way to make it faster. And I can't remember what it is. Well, you are pretty right with that, Teague. The H is pretty much pointless. I don't think it's jump related. You could do it like that, which is essentially the Castlevania method that we were doing back in Aria of Sorrow and Symphony of the Night. I think the only place you couldn't put the H in Goma is before the G, yeah. Like that. Not today, boys. You know, the style meter, I forgot just how awkward it is to really vary up your combos before you get your first Devil Arm. Especially if you're not using Swordmaster. That clipped through the banister. But you're gonna miss Cerberus, Clem. You can't blame a man for liking Jeopardy. It's like reality TV garbage, but you know at least there's something to game shows. I can do either. I think there's an appeal for both. There was a UK version of Family Feud called Family Fortunes, but I've not seen it aired in years. again. I think it's just the same trick as always, just luck in retaining the relevant information that happens to come up at the right time. So the combat adjudicators are not as difficult as a lot of people think. To boost your combo up, I figured it out ages ago. The way it judges your style is you have to vary up every 3 combos. You can cycle between 3 combos and just keep going, which means you can do all the combat adjudicators that the Rebellion does at the start. You do, and then you do, and then do, and then cycle, and you can do every single combat adjudicator. I think people still remember stuff these days. The big thing is that Google is used to settle arguments on who's misremembering things. It's like you used to have 5 Degrees of Kevin Bacon as like a real game. Nowadays it's just a case of check it on Google. Need these guys down. Come on, can I pull this one off? Yes. Like this is the first secret mission, and this is one of the easiest ones to miss. Because you have to examine this door texture. But I think in the age of Google, though, you can still remember stuff the same way you did. The trick is that you have to retain that knowledge in an era when you can just look up anything at any time. Am I ever going to use Drive? No, we're going to go with Stinger level 2 because I will use Stinger. Alright, so how many deaths are we thinking for this boss?
Leave now, mortal! The likes of you are forbidden in this land! You are powerless, are not worthy to set foot here!
Wow, I've never seen a talking mud before. You know, in a dog show, you definitely take first place.
You are a human make a
Hey, Star. How you doing, buddy?
Easy, Fido. How about I take you out for a walk? Come on, puppy.
And this track is called Suffer. No. Dante is voiced by Ruben Langdon. Raiden was voiced by Quinton Flynn. You got nothing, yeah, nothing's got you. I can see your fear, it surrounds you. I'm gonna stop doing that, because I will just keep doing that kind of shit if I'm allowed to. I should have switched to Swordmaster outside. That would have been a good idea. No, I can see where you're coming from with it. Well, it's the thing, like, I played Devil May Cry 3 so much more than 4 or 5. Like, with the exception of Devil Trigger and Shall Never Surrender, I don't remember the lyrics of any of the soundtrack in 4 or 5. I really should have switched to Swordmaster outside. There we go. My first experience, like we talk about this boss giving you a hard time, my first experience with Devil May Cry 3 was with the original version, and you better believe my game fucking stops at this boss. Alright. It's like I've really dug my own grave here by coming in with Trickster instead of Swordmaster. Damn it. Fuck. Sing my heart on Devils Never Cry. The lyrics to the opening song of Final Fantasy X, that is Otherworld, that is Go Now, If You Want It, Another World Awaits You. What did I miss? God, I fucking love the music from Metal Gear Rising. It's like when we were doing Mega Man 11 yesterday. Let me switch to Swordmaster. And putting it on the easier difficulty was great. In Metal Gear Rising, A Stranger I Remain is great. I love Rules of Nature, which is kind of obligatory. Oh, your favourite? Alright, fair enough. Try it again. Alright. Like, singing Devils Never Cry, I can do, but the trouble is gonna be trying to hit the 100 enemies required for the special theme. For the special ending. Oh yeah, no, Red Sun is great. Alright, let's do this. I can see your fear, it surrounds you. So the real trick is to aim at Cerberus's legs, because that'll cause it to collapse. And when it collapses, it is wide open. This boss is actually kind of a pain to do on Heaven or Hell, because everything dies in one hit, but you have to break through the ice to hit Cerberus. and like it's pretty tricky to do that without getting hit. It's going to charge. There goes charging again. Shit. Damn it. If we can get it to collapse one more time. It's pretty rare that I end up on green eyes last. Bam. Alright.
Who knows? I'm not even
Thanks for
sure
your
myself.
belief, Ninja. That's probably what got me through like over half of its health bar without getting hit. I was doing so well to begin with. One thing I do like is that this scene is in real time. Whichever head was the last head you had left alive is the head that will be in this cutscene. That's good. I like that. I love the Cerberus as a weapon. I did get kind of greedy with the trying to hit the legs, because if I could knock it down one more time, I would have had it. I mentioned it earlier, I was really disappointed in Devil May Cry 5 that the Cerberus we got wasn't this. Because I was really hoping that we'd be bringing some old weapons back, but we didn't.
Are you going to the party? What's the hurry? Didn't you get an invitation?
I think not bringing Mundus back was probably a good idea. I think the biggest problem with it was Argasax is a good example, but then also Urizen in 5, the idea of another Demon King. The idea of Urizen was cool, I'll admit. Better than Argasax, because Argasax isn't properly explained. Argasax is just described as another Demon King, but the point was that Mundus was the Demon King. Or Mundus. Alright, so I said earlier that Mission 4 is the hardest one to see the number for. And chances are, when I point it out, you're not going to actually see it. It's a very freeze-framey thing.
Looks like we have an uninvited guest.
Is that so?
A human. A woman.
I'm afraid I should ask the uninvited one to leave. That is what you want. Actually, I happen to be acquainted with that woman.
Okay, so what it is the tapestry that's above Virgil's head right now. And you can see it right about... at the start, I think it is. Well, I know where it is, and it's really hard to pick it out. It's one of the hardest. Now, let me see if I can get a picture. No, probably not. Be a bunch of effort just for a quick thing. It's one of the tapestries that's fluttering in the wind. And it's one of the ones, because there's a few of them in the game, that even when you know where it is, it's hard to pick out. This is back in triangle, isn't it? Yeah, alright. Dino Crisis sound effect. You mean the menu noise? It's been a while since I've done Dino Crisis, and I've not done it as much as DMC. I can't really agree or disagree with you. Yeah, Dino Crisis 1 is a pain. Dino Crisis 2 kinda gets a bit boring. Not that way. Here we go. The arcadey feel of 2, like, 2 is better than 1. As a game, 2 is better than 1. The arcadey feel of 2 is something I do like. The biggest problem is it's just constant action, and that can get wearying. I think 1 relies too heavily on puzzles that are really irritating. Like, getting around so many areas is so many different puzzles, and it gets really irritating. I really don't like these enemies. It's like, it's a good example of an enemy that's not difficult, it's just not fun to fight. Especially in a group. Deal with you in a minute. I also hate the way they die because it means it's not just the simple... It's not simple to pick the red orbs up. With your hate. There we go. Alright, what did I miss? God, Jurassic Park 3 was a mess. Jurassic Park 2 is also a mess. The biggest problem, I think, with Jurassic Park 2 is you're meant to sympathize with the characters who are trying to free the dinosaurs. And then them freeing the dinosaurs after they've all been captured is the reason why most of the people die. And it becomes a case of, why am I supposed to like these characters? Especially when most of the people who are hunting the dinosaurs are just people doing a job. They're clearly decent enough people, it's just the executive that's a prick. And it's like, oh, good work, Jeff Goldblum and, was it Julianne Moore, I think? You've got a load of these people who are just doing a job killed. I love Revolver as a skill, and I love it when we get Revolver level 2, because it's so fast and it just looks so cool. There we go. Alright, awesome. Yeah, Vince Vaughn. God, you forget that was Vince Vaughn in that movie. Peter Stormare was in Lost World? What? I remember Pete Postlethwaite was in it. And Spielberg described him as like the nicest actor he's ever worked with. Great guy to work with. Full health. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, Star, it's been such a long time since I've actually watched The Lost World, because it is a movie I don't enjoy. I mean, that said, I'm not really into Jurassic Park to begin with, but I really don't enjoy The Lost World. Yeah, the next boss fight, we've got Gigapede, but Gigapede isn't really a problem that much. The problem is hitting it more than anything. Beyond that, Agni and Rouge can be tricky. And then after that, Virgil 1. And Virgil 1's a great fight, but that can get messy. You know, I've not actually watched Jurassic World because I just didn't have any interest in it. Did I make this? No. There we go. From everything I heard about Fallen Kingdom and read about it, it seemed like Fallen Kingdom was basically was basically the Lost World to Jurassic World. Come on. Damn it. There we go. Alright, what did I miss? Well, I think that's like one of the best parts of the Planet of the Apes, like the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, War of the Planet of the Apes trilogy. The dedication to showing the beginning of the Planet of the Apes. Oh god, I forgot Gigapede was right now. Okay. I feel like the idea of having dinosaurs underneath a mansion and not being able to hear them roar, especially if it's a big one like a T-Rex, no amount of soundproofing is gonna sort that for you. Because you end up with the problem of the roar itself is going to be loud enough to vibrate the entire house. Damn it. Need better positioning for this. I have to say though, like, I think the best thing that came out of the Planet of the Apes, any of the Planet of the Apes movies, was the musical starring Shaun McClure. Yeah, I thought about that when I heard it, like, the whole thing of, oh, Jeff Goldblum's in the new Jurassic World movie, and they have him in the trailers and everything, and then it turns out he's relegated to a completely unrelated scene at the end of the movie. And it's like, wow, talk about shoehorning and then using that in the marketing. It's a cameo that they felt they should put in the trailers, is the thing that gets me. There we go. I think, like, you're not necessarily wrong, Teak, I think the problem with that idea is it works for the Planet of the Apes stuff because Caesar grows as a character. Whereas, like, the idea can work with an ape, but would you accept a talking dinosaur? Because at that point, you get very close to stuff like Theodore Rex, or that dinosaur sitcom that ended in the darkest way ever. Or that one dinosaur from Jurassic Park 3 that says Alan. Which, if you've never seen that, wow.
This tower here is very sturdy. You see? Your tricks will do no
Alan!
good. No good.
Zip it, or I'll pierce that big nose.
Like the best part of the movie.
That could be a problem. Just hear me out. You've got nothing to lose, right? My name is Jester, and I know a thing or two about this place.
Oh, so what you're suggesting then, Seek, is a zombie movie with the zombies replaced with dinosaurs? In fact, you know what we should do? We should go all out with that, not just replace zombies with dinosaurs, but have people that get bitten by dinosaurs turn into dinosaurs. Jester's such a prick.
Actually, I prefer a sword to be my partner.
It could be hilarious, unless the special effects do it really disturbingly, and in which case the transformation into a dinosaur is horrifying.
That is what the
Oh, what's this now? What's this stuff?
Remember that, kid? Write it down on your hand if you
Oh
don't
god, the
trust
Alan
your
bit.
head.
Like, if you've never seen the Alan bit in Jurassic Park 3 or you don't remember it, Stars just put a link in the chat.
I see. Thanks. You still piss me off, though.
Save the game. You think Sony thought, when they released the PS2, that somebody would be playing it long enough for the clock to hit 2020? Alright, so this one, this cutscene, fuck, I didn't realise this was Agni and Ruger already. I thought there was another mission to go. Okay, now that I've got that, I should focus on buying blue orbs. Alright, so this cutscene is one of the easiest to spot the number for.
Thanks for destroying the luck for me, devil boy. And welcome to hell. Please accept my gift. Don't be humble. Just take it. After all, we're buddies, aren't we?
I just didn't realise that Agni and Ruger are mission 5, but then I guess Virgil is mission 7, so it makes sense. I think the most unbelievable thing about Jurassic Park 3 is, like, the couple drug Sam Neill to take into the island, and we're supposed to actually give a shit about them at any point. There's number 5. As you arrive, call your bluff. So, blood gargoyles, I always call them blood phoenixes. But if you slice them, they'll split into more. So the best thing to do is to get close to them and hit them with a shotgun blast at close range. And that will immediately turn them to stone, at which point you can then shatter them. Like, this is an enemy that would probably be... the gunslinger would probably be useful for. Damn it. There we go. Pretty much. You forgot how to deal with them. Oof, nasty. This is like the only thing I don't like about the special edition. There are 3 boss fights with Jester that are crowbarred in. The second and the third are optional. The first one is mandatory, and I don't like these boss fights. Isn't the ending of Jurassic Park 3 that the dinosaurs just leave the island? And it's like, oh look, they're leaving the island, and we're all supposed to be like, oh, what a cool thing. They've got the freedom now, instead of like... I'm sorry, what? Ah, shit. Didn't realise how low my health was. Okay, shoot the balls. I need the green one. There isn't any green ones. Damn it. I usually skipped 2 and 3 because I don't like Jester as a boss fight. And 2 and 3 adds that big ball that he sits on. Jurassic Park novel has too much ending. Is it Return of the King levels of ending though? Yeah, I'll agree with you that the first Jurassic Park movie has a good message about science and the responsibility of scientists and everything. But I think more than that, it stands up as a testament of special effects. And especially the viability of practical combined with CG. I think, like Terminator 2, a big part of the reason why the effects hold up is because they're smartly used. And used in conjunction with practical effects. There's green. Damn it, why am I not getting that? Oh, come on. Oh, Return of the King's ending's fine, and I've never had a problem with it. But it's one of the most common things you'll hear about it on the internet, that the ending goes for so long. And it's like, I thought it was fine. They could have made it longer if they wanted to. They actually cut a significant piece of the book's ending out, where the hobbits return to the Shire and Saruman has taken over. There we go.
Oops.
It's interesting, like, the shots on the T-1000, when he gets shot, those are practical effects. The only CG in it is when they close back up. And it's the combination of the two. Yeah, no, it's a stupid ending, and removing it in the movies was a good idea. The combination of both practical and CG is what helps these things age so much better. Like in a lot of shots in Jurassic Park 1, the T-Rex is real, and for the most part, the raptors were real. Terminator 2 is such a good movie. And I think it's the main reason why it holds up, because it's smart use of practical effects. It's smart use of CG combining them with practical effects. Now, what did I miss? Oh, that's how Jurassic Park 3 ends? Hey, Clem. Okay, where am I actually going with this? What did I pick up? I completely forget what I'm actually doing. Astronomical board. Explains the endless void, said to be powered by time. That's not where the trident goes. What am I thinking? Pushing the rats are through the door. You know, there's an interesting thing with Jurassic Park. Samuel Jackson's character wasn't intended to die. Oh, it's on this side, jeez. Yeah, Samuel Jackson's character wasn't intended to die. They just couldn't get him back for reshoots or to shoot his specific thing. I think because there were storms battering the island that they were filming on, so Samuel Jackson couldn't get there. So instead, they just took a random black guy's arm and said, no, that's Samuel Jackson's arm, he's dead now. Well, I think it was safer to kill him, rather than to try and get him through the storms. Or to... wait until afterwards. Until after the storms have passed. Well, no, we assume it's Sam Jackson's because he was the character that was sent down to the shed to turn the power back on. And that's where we find the arm. It's like if it was a woman's arm and the woman had been sent down there, we'd assume it was her arm. Oh no, I know you're messing, I'm just giving actual context and reason. I don't even like Jurassic Park, why am I talking about it? I mean, from a technical and cinematic standpoint, great movie, I just don't care. I hope Bane's okay. He's not been in today. And I understand if he's busy. I just hope that that's all it is and that he's okay. Soul of Steel. They're neither hell nor oblivion. That's the interesting thing, like, Lucas convinced Spielberg to give E.T. the Lucas treatment and redo a bunch of it with CG and to edit out stuff that wasn't family friendly and shit, which is why there's stuff, the versions with the CG E.T. instead of the puppet E.T. and the FBI guys holding radios instead of shotguns. But Spielberg later changed his mind and went back to the original versions. And like maybe the reasoning for it is that Spielberg has more experience as a director, maybe, or Spielberg's more tied to his original work on an emotional level. I don't know. Like maybe Lucas is just more feels more tied to special effects than anything. Yeah, no, I'm not going to disagree with that. Like, replacing the dude who played Boba Fett in the original with Tamura Morrison, replacing his voice. Because, yeah, Boba Fett's a clone, we have to make it canon. It's like, you know, there's a shitload of other stuff you've kind of messed up in trying to do this kind of canon. I mean, I suppose the big problem is just the lack of availability of the originals. Boba Fett! Boba Fett! Where? You know, I'll agree with you on some of the stuff, Teak. Some of it is overblown, I'll agree. The CG creatures, like the dewback in the desert scene when the stormtroopers are searching for the droids, I don't like that because it's too out of place. It's visibly CG and it looks bleh. The no that was added at the end of Return of the Jedi, that's not good. Let's be fair, any scene of Greedo shooting Han first has never looked right. Yeah, that's really the thing, the fact that the CG stands out. Because if it didn't stand out, it wouldn't be so bad. No, you see, the no in Revenge of the Sith... Oh, you're saying Return of the Jedi. No, I don't like that. Oh god, that... Ugh. Where is the door that I'm after? I can kind of see the appeal of that, Teak. You know, one thing I really like with the scene of Vader throwing the Emperor down the hall is every time they do it in Robot Chicken, because they have done it so many times in Robot Chicken. Where is the room that I'm after? Gigapede. God, I'm a fucking idiot. I've gone the wrong way. It's like Robot Chicken is very hit and miss, but I love a lot of the Star Wars stuff they do. And I feel that, like, Seth MacFarlane doing the Emperor is just something that's really comedically fitting to me. I'm going to remind you of one of the rules for when we get to Star Wars Month Star. There will be no sequel talk. So I actually do need to go back up here. Don't I? Do I? Where the fuck am I going? Why am I so lost? Well, I'm not getting an A rank on the time. Doesn't help that... No, it's not this mission I'm thinking of. The next mission goes for a while longer. First Star Wars game is going to be KOTOR. We're going to start with the big one, the big Mama Jamma. We're going to go as far from the sequels as we possibly can. Like, not intentionally, just because KOTOR's great. Shadows of the Empire will probably make an appearance as a weekend one-off on the YouTube channel. You know, I do want to sit down at some point and have a good go of the... This should be it. The PC version of Shadows of the Empire. Here we go. Searching for this room for like 20 minutes. There we go. We have the second Rogue Squadron going up on the channel. The first one I still haven't beaten. I haven't gone back to it actually since I got stuck on it. I've just been kind of busy with other shit. And it's been a little while since I was playing games for myself outside of the channel or the stream. I feel like if there was going to be any game where you could play as Max Rebo, it would have been Star Wars Connect. So that's a secret mission that I don't want to do. But yeah, it'd been a little while since I'd actually played any games for myself outside of the stream or the channel, and I've only really been doing that in the last week or so with Far Cry 5. God damn it. I think the biggest shame of, like, since Disney took over Star Wars is giving EA the exclusive rights to Star Wars games on home consoles and shit. Refusing to publish games themselves, because it's meant there's just been a lot less. It's like, I've got a picture that I'll throw in the Discord later, of the games that came out, the Star Wars games that came out in a 6-year time period in the 2000s versus the Star Wars games that came out in a 6-year time period since EA got the license. And the reason for the difference is because LucasArts was publishing the games, they just let other developers have the license. I am not going to win this fight with this health. And that's the big problem, like, letting EA have exclusive control over the license in video games, rather than Disney publishing them themselves and giving the license on a game-by-game basis to different developers, is one of the biggest mistakes they've made. Oh, there we go, full heal. Because, like, over the same time period of, like, the 6 years, we ended up with... I've got the picture on my phone, actually, while this cutscene's going on. Let me check.
Look, brother, it's been ages, but we finally have company. I see that. We must entertain our guest. You're right. We have to be gracious hosts. What should we do? How do I know? We need to come up with something.
Okay, so between 2013 and 2019, all EA put out was Battlefront and Battlefront 2. Between 2002 and 2008, 6-year time period again under LucasArts, because they were licensing out the Star Wars license on a game-by-game basis. We got Race of Revenge, Bounty Hunter, Clone Wars, Galaxies, Lego Star Wars 2, Jedi Starfighter, Empire at War, KOTOR 2, Republic Commando, Battlefront 2, Episode 3 game, Jedi Knight, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast, The Force Unleashed, and The Force Unleashed 2. Because they were going to different developers, rather than one publisher having complete control and only letting their companies do anything with it. It's like, Disney should really have decided to take the license away from EA after the best that was Battlefront 2. But like the part of press release that was basically, you know, it's never really worked out when we've tried to publish games ourselves, and that's why we're going to stick with EA, and it's like, that is a stupid fucking reason. It's like, for fuck's sake. I mean, I'll grant that LucasArts had the advantage of publishing games before they started publishing Star Wars games. They were publishing original content for like years before they started publishing Star Wars games. You know, there's probably a reason this is the only boss fight that isn't one boss. Because the biggest problem in dealing with this fight is dealing with two enemies. That's enough for you. Ah, shit. That's going to make this harder than it needs to be. No, the Agni and Rudra weapon is great. And it's a toss-up on whether or not I'll use Agni and Rudra or Cerberus. Because I'll always keep Rebellion as my main. This ain't going to go well. Yeah, I can't see, thank you. Damn it. And you see, whittling them down together, I think, is a bad idea. Because you're splitting your attention. And that can lead to mistakes. My method is to whittle one down to near death, and then kill the other one. The problem was, I let go of the lock-on for a second, and then re-established the lock-on, and the lock-on was on red, when I wanted it to be on blue. Alright, let's do this again. This is why we go with gold orbs rather than yellow. also the reason why I tend to favour Trickster over Swordmaster these days. Dodge like a motherfucker. It's like, especially in boss fights, the extra moves you get through Swordmaster are not useful. And I feel like the smart move is to either master Royal Guard or use Trickster in boss fights. I don't think the roll is reliable enough. Shouldn't have been shooting in mid-air. Should have been on the ground to deal with it. Okay, so there is actually a trick to disarming them. And that's to using Cerberus. Because you can... Cerberus can hit them fast enough that you're guaranteed to counter their hit. And I completely forgot about it until like 10 seconds ago. And that is the key to the fight, Cerberus. Just don't do Revolver at that time. Targeting the wrong one again. There we go. Come on. There it is. So yeah, I remembered how to do that fight halfway through.
We have been waiting for a long time. Yes, a very long time. For someone stronger.
Yeah, no, I see exactly what it is, Clem.
Who can control us. My name is Agni.
Yeah, I was waiting for Red to jump in and cause problems, but he didn't. It's weird. Like, if you have the time and patience to learn Royal Guard, it's not just that you can block attacks, it's that perfect blocking attacks gives you an incredibly damaging counter-attack. But the timing is different on every attack from every enemy. And it makes Royal Guard the most dangerous style.
No talking. Good.
But yeah, no, that is basically how I would do Agni and Rudra. Because you saw how much they're blocking. There we go, now we can dash in the air. That's what I needed for that fight. Like, you saw how much they're blocking, and at that point, once they parry your attack, wait a couple of seconds, and then... Because that will hit fast enough that you are guaranteed to catch them when they're trying to attack you and knock the sword out of their hand. It's a guarantee. And then they just sit there for a good 10 seconds. And if only I remembered that at the start of the fight. Yeah, I still got a B rank for it. So that wasn't too bad. Yeah. Yeah, like you say, Clem, Swordmaster is for regular mission enemies. Trickster is a good all-rounder, especially because you want to level it up. So, I think this scene in particular establishes Lady as a badass. See if you can see the 6 in this cutscene. Lady's so cool. And then she just sat there like that. Look how cool that is. Yeah, I'm not looking at a 6, I'm looking at a 10. I don't understand how Ninja can look at that and then not say Lady is really cool. Now I'm looking at a 6. Trish never did anything that cool. Alright, do I want to learn anything for Agni and Rudra? No, we're gonna go with a blue orb. Well, we've got plenty of time for Agni and Rudra because, depending on how I'm feeling now for a while, we're gonna be switching between Cerberus and Agni and Rudra. Until after Virgil 2. Because it's not until Virgil 2 where I just get the weapon that I'm gonna stick with for the rest of the game. Alright, Chamber of 3 Trials. Wisdom. Alright. Crawling infant, to man standing tall, to old man leaning on his cane. It's the classic riddle. It's the classic riddle, it's just told in reverse order. Crawling infant, to man standing tall, to man leaning on his cane. And it's the old riddle, what has 4 legs in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, 3 in the evening. It's just told in reverse. Essence of intelligence. Technique. I think the only one of these that is actually any difficult and has any difficulty to it is combat, because you have to deal with devil trigger enemies and you have to hit 2 switches to turn them off. If you can get this right with tricks to level 2, I think you can just dodge through them, but I don't know. But with tricks to level 2 though, we have air dodge, which means this is actually easier than otherwise. As long as it's not 2 of those at the bottom. I could have done that so much better if I wasn't trying to get that technique down. Gotcha. So as far as the guns go though, like, I stick with Ebony and Ivory all the way through because they're reliable for what the guns are actually supposed to be about. And I used the Coyote, the shotgun, until I get the Kalina Ant, at which point I switch and that's it. Like, this game gives you so many guns, and I don't use most of them. So we have the thing here, we only need 2 of them to actually progress, but if we do the 3rd one, we'll get a gun that I'll never use. So let's go get the 3rd one. Trial of the Warrior. And there's the enemy Devil Trigger. At a time when we don't actually have Devil Trigger. I think the worst part about this trial is that it's 2 switches. If it was just 1, I don't think it'd be so bad. They're done with them being closer. Come on. Those switches are actually lasting quite a while, aren't they? There it is. There it is. Right, wait. There he is. I think you missed that, buddy. Ah, shit. Devil May Cry 3 is a great game to wear headphones for, because so many of the enemies have audio cues. Specifically if they're off screen, a lot of their attacks are telegraphed with audio cues. Oh, Ali's gone live. I guess we'll finish this level and we'll call it then. Oh, she's playing Silent Hill. Okay, I don't have to hurry for that. Yeah, she did Silent Hill before. Okay. That's all 3 of the essences though, so now we can go and get Artemis. Is it Artemis? I think it's Artemis. Yeah, I never use this weapon. Artemis. I was surprised with you when this idea turned up again in Devil May Cry 5. You know, like I said earlier, fuck. We will probably just do this last level and call it. Leave Virgil for next time we play this. Because the Virgil level is actually kind of long. I'd love to end on Virgil, but the Virgil level is kind of long. And we have to go into the library for it, and it's up and down. Alright, there we go. Yeah, no, like I said earlier, like, I don't use any of the guns besides Ebony and Ivory, and the shotgun is mostly a holdover until I get Kalina Ann. There we go. Should have really bought Whirlwind for that. Oh, here's the end of the level. Shit, I forgot it was this close. Been going for a while now. We've hit over 4 hours.
Well, well.
Do I want to make the plunge and do mission 7 so we can end on Virgil?
You've grown stronger.
Go to hell.
You point a gun at me? Your own kin?
Yeah, when I said we wouldn't go that long. And then I decided, you know what, let's just stop playing Nocturne and play Devil May Cry instead.
And she's dead.
I mean, I'm just glad everybody's enjoying Devil May Cry.
After all,
I mean, I'm not the best player of it, but I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I gave you your name. My darling daughter.
Oh shit, hit me with a book. I better not be sarcasm, Ninja. Well, the idea is that Lady grows throughout Devil May Cry 3, same way as Dante. Dante's character in 4 isn't consistent with what it is in 3. Because the idea is that he's grown. And it's set after Devil May Cry 1. My big problem with Lady in 4 is that there's barely any of her. She appears in a flashback when you control Dante, and then at the end.
Well, this is my kind of rain. No wonder the sky looks so funny today.
Let me go.
I think Arkham just got the drop on her is the problem.
But it would be a waste if you ended up as just a pretty stain.
You gotta love this, though. Like, she shot Dante in the head, not realizing that he'd survive it.
Thanks by shooting me?
And then decides, oh, because he's a demon, I have to kill him. It's like, you just shot him in the head, not knowing he was a demon.
So he's a demon too.
I'm beginning to
Also,
think I have
7
with women.
right there. Duel of the Demon Children. No, we don't have enough for that. And I am definitely going to want Cerberus for this fight. Alright, so we're going to do this mission, we're going to end after Virgil. Because I'm hyped right now, and like, I'm tired, but I'm hyped for Virgil, because Virgil's cool. And it's like, if you're not hyped for Virgil, I don't think you're into this series. God damn it, come on. Alright, we'll keep going in the name of keeping going. Alright, so we head down to the library. And then we head up, and then we have to go back down to the main foyer. And then back up. We can probably have this done in like 15 minutes. The introduction of the chess pieces. You can always tell which ones are actually going to attack you, because with the pawns, the swords are blue. Are you going, Clem? That's fair enough. Oh, chess pieces. Well, the good thing is, like, we've got, like, if we... I'm in the mood to do all of Devil May Cry 3. I've been debating it for a little while anyway. The good news is we got, like, 2 more sessions before we get to the chessboard. I appreciate that, Clan. Okay, so we have the Orichalcum fragment, and now we head up to the top. Oh no, the angel creatures are definitely the worst. I don't have a problem with the chess pieces. I fucking hate the angel things, though. There's not a good way to fight them, that's the problem. Like the chess pieces, it's just a case of dodge when they attack. The angels is a case of shoot them, hope they get close enough for you to melee them, and hope they don't fly out of the geometry. And then you just have to wait for them to come back. I feel the worst thing about the Arkham boss fight is the second half of it, when they take away your styles from you. And I don't like that. Yeah, that part. They also take away Devil Trigger. This blue orb fragment is so irritating. It's like, if you grind for air hike, not necessarily too bad, but air hike is like 20,000 red orbs. Alright. I think the worst thing about air hike, and you know, one thing I'm going to say Devil May Cry 2 did better, is the fact that air hike is tied to weapons. And there's 3 air hikes. Like, you get air hike with Rebellion, air hike with Agnium Rudra, and air hike with Beowulf. And it's like, the only weapon you should ever buy it for is Rebellion. Because you should have, you'll probably have Rebellion with you the entire time. Like, Devil May Cry 2 just gave you air hike. And it's like, I'm not necessarily saying it's better that air hike is given to you rather than you purchasing it, but the fact that it's just tied to your abilities. It's something Devil May Cry 4 does better as well, but then Nero doesn't have multiple weapons, so he doesn't have the same problem. God damn it. You have to buy Run, yeah, but like, God, you want Run in Devil May Cry 4. Like, going back to 3, especially in the points where, fucking finally, especially in the points where you are going to spend a bunch of time running around, like, you miss the ability to sprint. I think 4 Special Edition made it cheaper. Now, why to target the other one? There we go. Like, 4 Special Edition rebalanced a bunch of stuff. One thing I do like about the chess pieces is that Stinger doesn't knock them back. which means you can use Stinger to get to them, and then go directly into a combo, and I like that. Ooh, double S. I suppose my biggest problem with this mission is that this room is a locked encounter twice. And the first time it introduces these guys, and the second time it introduces the Hell's Vanguard as a regular enemy. And I hate these guys. And I hate them for one reason, and that's that you don't stun them. Like, it's not that they spawn other enemies, it's that you can't stun them. Yeah, we're almost there. You bastard. I was doing so well in that fight, mate. There. Siren Shriek. You know, I remembered that we have to go back down to the bottom. I couldn't remember what for. There we go. There we go. I say, the trick with the combat adjudicator is knowing exactly how many combos you have to cycle through. Once you've got that, none of them are really a problem. Like, that required the max style rank, and it's just a case of switching between your three basic styles, three basic combos. Well, after that, nah. Like, the Agni and Ruja one was a little tricky because I didn't have any abilities for it. But at that point, it was yeah, my thumb hurts a little bit, actually. At that point, the Agni and Ruja statue was basically replace the launcher with Stinger. I forget what it's called with Agni and Rudra. You know, once you get past the low resolution that the PS2 has, this game looks fine. And once your eyes get used to it, this game's fine. It has such a good art design. And it really is a shame that the HD versions kind of ruin a bunch of the visual components of it. It's something I've said before, like, after we got to the PS2, like, PS1 N64 3D is ugly, there's no denying that, and has aged poorly. But once we got to the PS2 and we could make a reasonable human character model, I don't think graphics ever needed to be better. It's not a bad thing that they got better to a point, but I don't think they needed to be better. I knew there was a caveat to that, but I didn't remember that it was timed. It's not even been that long since I did this part last. I was doing this last year. There we go. Crystal Skull, and now the door locks. That was bullshit. I love Trickster just for the simple fact of tap the button, invincibility frames. Like the convenience on it, especially with those guys who jump back and then dash forward at you. Yeah, no, I can't blame you for that. Like the first slot on this memory card is the last time we were streaming this, and I was doing it on and off for a while and just kind of stopped after Leviathan. There is also something you may have noticed about my playstyle that is somewhat inefficient, and that is that I never taunt. There we go. Why not do it for stream, Ninja? Stream is the main way I motivate myself to do a lot of this shit. Stream is the motivation. I think the only time the taunt has ever actually been useful to me is in Devil May Cry 4, because if you are sprinting and tap the taunt button, Nero will do a dropkick. And it counts as an attack and a taunt. It's great. And I think it's a great way to open combat, but then never actually use it in combat. Yeah, I never really taunt in Devil May Cry 5. I've fiddled with it a little bit, I've messed around, tried to get it to work, but no. Okay. There it is. Gotta watch out, when you hear that bell toll, it's gonna teleport away and teleport right back to do a diving attack like that. A dashing attack like that. So you gotta watch out for that. Oh, we'll do that. Bastard. Damn it, I got caught in revolver. We couldn't dodge that time. Yeah, it goes back to why I'm glad I'm not a perfectionist, because I'll just play the game and be happy with what I get. If I come out with an S rank, cool. But if I don't, then it's like, shit. Yeah, well, next mission. The trick is to not give a shit. Then you want it to get better. That's fair enough. If you feel the motivation to get better. My motivation is to be good enough to play the game without dying. Milestone lost to you forever? What? Okay, so bought that for 2 reasons. 1, because I could, and 2, because it would refill my health for the Virgil fight. I think my thing at this point is, I just want to play games. I want to play more games. It's like, we need to get to a point where I'm doing the blind playthroughs again. Right, let's work on Drive. Because I want to play more games. And it's why I don't feel a huge motivation to get fantastic at any one game in particular.
Come on.
Yeah, no, Drive, ugh, it's like the charge-up period, and then
Come on.
it takes so long to pull out. It's like, I'm thinking of alternating streams at the minute. We're doing a different game tomorrow, and then coming back to Devil May Cry. I love that it's raining here. Fights in the rain are just cool. Well, a big part of the stream for me is motivation to play new stuff. Because for the most part, I just wasn't. It's like, we're doing... we did the fight in the rain, no, it's lame.
You showed up.
But yeah, tomorrow, because we'll be back tomorrow, because Thursday's a regular stream time anyway.
Sure know how to throw a party.
We'll be doing a different game.
Drinks.
And I think we're going to alternate between
And
this
they
and that
only
game.
pay just
And I've already decided what that game will
My
be.
sincerest apology, brother. I was so eager to see you, I couldn't concentrate on preparations.
One of my favourite things about Virgil is that Virgil will shit-talk Dante back.
It's been a whole year since we last met.
He does it in his own way, but he will shit-talk back, and it's great.
Or better yet, how about I
He's
just
not
love
above it.
this?
It's great.
So, this is what they call a heartwarming family reunion, eh?
You got that right.
Nice. Love it when he gets motivated.
This may be fun. Come on, man.
See, one of my big problems with taunting is whenever I actually do it, it never looks like my style meter goes up. Wait for the hair to fall down. Shit. The camera's having trouble keeping up with him. Stop, Virgil, you're moving too fast for the camera. Oh, the hair's down. I'm not sure what it is, but my favourite fight in any game like this is always the fight with the similar counterpart. Like, yeah, we'll fight huge monsters all the damn time, but when we're fighting a dude who's the same size as you, that's when I get hyped. And it doesn't matter what game it is, any game like this, that's always the key. There it is! Thanks for the host, White Jesus. I mean, we're basically at the end of the stream now, though. But thank you so much for the host, I really appreciate that. But yeah, it's like any boss that competes with you on the same level, like Virgil, Nilo Angelo, Shaun, the Masked Lumen Sage in Bayonetta 2. The dude, the evil dude from God Hand, and that kind of thing. Now, I'll agree, Virgil 1 was pretty easy. The fact that I was able to just keep getting him in the same combo, I just messed up with a few judgment cuts. Virgil 2 is where things get real, especially since he'll start pulling out Beowulf.
Foolishness, Dante. Foolishness. Might controls everything.
That's good stuff, though.
You cannot protect anything. Let alone yourself.
Just a very casual slash there. Virgil getting Beowulf is an idea that I really like. It's like, you get your devil arms, oh, but Virgil can get a devil arm as well. And he gets Beowulf, of all devil arms.
Do you finally have it?
Yes. Now the spell Sparta cast will be broken.
Agni Rudra is all about the deflection. And without the deflection, that fight is so much harder.
I see a devil inside you has awakened as well.
Oh, that is metal as fuck.
Wait. We should leave. For the moment, we have all that we need.
But Virgil wants to fight. It's a great scene. I love the scene that follows this. Oh yeah, no, the visual style is way better on the PS2 version. The HD version doesn't capture the visual style properly. Which is really disappointing. Especially like the fog over the moon. The moon in the HD version is very clear. But in the original PS2 version, it is obscured by fog and it creates a different atmosphere to the entire scene. And it's great. You could argue Virgil wants Dante to be stronger as well. Although that in itself is getting into character interpretation rather than what the character actually is. Well, I think this is a good place to call it, because it's not like Leviathan is anywhere near as hype as this. Maybe we'll split this game up into 3 streams, ending with Virgil 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, there's also weirdly a complete lack of field of depth. Yeah, I don't remember what the channel's called. It's a fairly small YouTube channel, but he did like two videos specifically on Devil May Cry 3 compared to the HD version, and 2 on the Devil May Cry 1. There's a really interesting thing actually that the video, the comparison video I watched. Yeah, Catbus, that is it exactly. He points out like the studs on Dante's coat are actually really well done for the first half of the game. But then after this point, because Dante rips his sleeve off and the coat is then a different model, they're just sharpened textures rather than being properly redone like they were for the first part of the game. I believe he'll get to it eventually, but he's covered enough that like, it really points out just how low effort the HD version is. It's still a playable HD version, it's not the worst. Because stuff like the Prince of Persia HD trilogy is absolute garbage, and then the Silent Hill HD collection is worse. It's playable, but if you have the ability to play the PS2 version, you should. Yeah, no, I can't blame you for that, Ninja. Really can't. The worst thing for me with the Prince of Persia Sands of Time trilogy in HD is the audio in Sands of Time. Everything echoes for some reason, and I've been through not too long ago to compare original Sands of Time versus HD, and the echo is an effect of the HD version. Not to mention, playing that game on PS3, I think it's only available on PS3, Sands of Time HD will crash. I think like hard crash your system if you have anything downloaded in the background. I think the biggest part of it is the PS2 is such an awkward piece of architecture. The face. Ugh. The one thing I will give Sands of Time HD over the original version is it saves a lot faster. That's it. I do think the big problem is it takes real care and attention, not to mention actual programming and technical skill, to transfer a PS2 game over to the PS3 because the PS2 was such an awkward piece of architecture. Like, if the PS2 wasn't the most popular console of its generation, most developers would have probably dumped it. Yeah, pretty much. The PS2 could put out some fantastic stuff, but it was so much harder to develop for than the Xbox or the GameCube. But it was top dog. It sold way more people had them. So if you wanted to sell games, you put them on PS2. You learned how to code for the PS2. But no, that is 2 processing units of sound. Jeez, most awkward system since the Saturn. Well, that's gonna do it for today. We've gone way long today. Yeah, I was actually watching earlier today My Life in Gaming's video on getting the best video quality from PS2, and as they tend to do, they went into the specific architecture of it, which is pretty interesting. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. 4.5 hours. We did end on a high. Like, as much as I really wanted to do Nocturne, like, I'm probably just gonna leave it there. And if we go back to Shin Megami Tensei, we'll do Digital Devil Saga instead, which is both a better game and a more interesting game. Nocturne lives on its mystery, but the problem is the story is so spread far apart, and it's really hard to keep the momentum going with it. I'll tell you what, Ninja. It's not that I wasn't enjoying Nocturne, because I do enjoy Nocturne. It's that I was expecting to not enjoy Nocturne. And I was expecting to run into some problems. Nocturne's a great game, it's just, nah. Thanks, Virgil. Appreciate that, buddy. Yeah, no, the visual capability of the PS2 is really awkward. It really is something like you have to readjust your eyes to go back to the PS2, more so than if you go back to the Xbox or the GameCube. It would get to be more of a slog to get through, really would. I think the most interesting thing with the PS2 is that it is capable of outputting at 1080i through component. Resolution is the main problem, yeah. Almost everything outputs at 480i. Some stuff can support 480p. A lot of stuff that does is really awkward. Like, to actually get the option for 480p, you have to hold X and triangle at startup, which is stupid. But if you want to catch... Yeah, Gran Turismo 4 supports 1080i, which is really surprising. Gran Turismo 4 is like one of the best looking games on the platform. No, it does. I know that for a fact. Gran Turismo 4 also has very convenient visual options. You can just change them in the options menu rather than having to hold the button combination. But if you want to catch more Devil May Cry, Virgil, we will be back with it on Saturday. Tomorrow we're going to be playing a different game, but we'll be back with Devil May Cry on Saturday. I'm going to take a break on Friday because I've been streaming now for 4 days straight, and tomorrow will be 5 days straight. Thank you for the follow, Virgil. Really appreciate it. Like I say, Saturday, 8 PM Greenwich Mean Time with more Devil May Cry. And for anybody new, we have the Discord here if anybody wants to join that, where you can catch all the updates and hang out with the cool people in the chat. Ninja's cool, Clem is cool, we had Teak in here earlier, he's cool. That is all up to you guys. But that is going to do it for today's stream. I want to thank everybody who joined the stream. Big special thank you to everybody in the chat. That's Clem, Ninja, Teak, Star, Virgil, what was the other guy? Got the name. White Jesus, that's it. White Jesus, thank you so much. Thank you for the host, White Jesus. I really appreciate that. We'll be back tomorrow, 8 PM Greenwich Mean Time, where we'll be playing The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. And we'll be doing the original version for GameCube, because I feel like doing the original version for GameCube. I do have Wind Waker HD on the Wii U. We're going to do the GameCube version just because... because I want to do the GameCube version. I want to do the GameCube version. Don't judge me. But once again, thank you to everybody for watching. I always really appreciate the support. Big special thank you to everybody in the chat. Once again, thank you so much to Virgil for the follow and White Jesus for the host. That's really great of you guys. Yeah, because shut up. It's my stream. I get to stream whichever version of whatever game I want, as long as it's not Honey Pop. Once again, back tomorrow, 8 PM Greenwich Mean Time GMT with The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Back on Saturday, 8 PM Greenwich Mean Time GMT with more Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition on PlayStation 2. But in the meantime, I want to thank everybody for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic time of day, and take care. Catch you next time, guys. I don't have music queued up, give me a minute. I closed the page that had the music up. I've done that like 3 times tonight. Yeah, fuck, we'll do Devil's Never Cry. Catch you next time, guys.